Good morning, folks, and welcome to your morning car rant with me. As we bring it home every day, as we always do, it makes it a lot more fun that way, right, folks? We get to talk about the political situation and things going on in the world, and certainly there is a lot to talk about. But anyway, folks, again, tonight we'll be at Jake and Johnny's Lounge with Duchess SS as our host. Love that gal. Duchess SS will be there bringing us home at Jake and Johnny's Lounge. Message me to get on the list unless you want to be last on the list. Otherwise, we do start at 8:30. Thank you much. And thank you for all. Priscilla, welcome aboard, my dear woman. Your journey is a big one, my dear. Your journey is a big one, but you'll reach the promised land, I am sure. Well, anyway, folks, we have a lot to talk about. And first of all, I noticed before other things broke out on the news yesterday, we had Mr. Garland there coming out and talking about Russian collusion. Now, if you listen to Dan Bongino, as I do, I listen to Dan Bongino often. Matter of fact, one of his producers listens to me, and that's great. One of the things that Dan been talking about for several weeks, months, was that he predicted that they're going to reinstall Russian collusion again for Donald Trump. They're going to bring that all up again. They're going to restoke that as the October surprise. Well, let me tell you something, folks. It happened yesterday. We got out there and the Russian interference, and there was Iran interference, but we're not concerned about Iran interference, the ones who threatened to kill Donald Trump. We're more or less interested in the Russian interference. People have been arrested. Russians, some businesses have been closed because of it. It goes on and on and on, folks. And what they're doing is they're preparing you, ladies and gentlemen, for a denullification of the election. They're looking to create what I have predicted right along a civil war. They're saying that the Russians are going to hack into our system. I would be more concerned about the Iranians hacking into our system. But then again, we've always expressed that we should go back to paper ballots. We've been saying that. So what's a way when you get all these things going on, and now you got a school shooting, which we'll talk about, and then you've got college campuses up in a rise. You've got, like I said to you in my rant yesterday about me talking to a Pentagon official, active Pentagon official, telling me that they're worried about October being an uprising in this country. I told you, and I've been telling you, thanks to a good friend of mine who owns a business in Cranston. I'm not going to mention. He says, I worry that there isn't going to be an election. The guy at the same Pentagon said the same thing. And I'm going to tell you one thing. What do you do when you fear that the election's not going to be sound? Well, maybe you won't have an election. Maybe you're going to delay the election. There are going to be a lot of things at play here, folks. Get ready. It's going to get very interesting. And with the uprising of violence in our country, because the Democrats do that well, you're going to start to see things come apart. And I've warned you, and it's going to happen 100%. 100%. Expect there to be violence in this country coming from one party and one party only. Ladies and gentlemen, they are not. Now, you've been seeing polls showing Kamala Harris up a little bit or tied. The polls were released again yesterday, folks, showing that Kamala Harris may be tied with him on maybe a few battlegrounds, but she's losing everything. And she's losing consistently, and Donald Trump is picking up steam as the train continues to barrel on. Donald Trump is picking up steam, and lots of it. That's right, folks. And the Democrat Party knows this, and they can't have this, and they're going to do everything they can to stop this election. Everything they can. Now, you damn well know we're not going to go through 4 years of Kamala Harris. We damn well know we're not going to go another 4 years of what we've gone through in the last recent 3.5. We're not. We're not going to do it. And we're going to go out there and we're going to vote. But the Democrat Party is doing everything they can to destroy this election. They've had AI, they've had your Amazon devices at home trying to say something different and saying it was a mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, they're already interfering with the election. The news media interferes with the election every day, interfering with the election. In-kind donations, literally and figuratively, to the campaign of Kamala Harris, who sucked before she was the Hosanna Hay on a horse and a donkey into the town. They know what we're up against, folks. They are on full DEFCON 1. That's right, DEFCON 1. They're on full play. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you doubt for a minute what's at play here. I see it. And if you don't see it, you're naive. You're in that water that's above the fire in a pot, thinking you're having a nice little bath, until you find out too late that the water is boiling and you're dead. That's what they're doing. You know, we see a lot of these school shootings, folks, and I've talked about this to you many moons ago, and what I think the problem is. Everybody's trying to say, oh, let's take guns away. Taking guns away doesn't stop someone who's hell-bent on killing people. How many guns were used in the Boston Marathon bomber? By the way, none. It was a bomber. How about those knife killings, ladies and gentlemen? It doesn't take much. If somebody wants to kill somebody, they're going to do it, whether they have to drive a car into a schoolyard, barrel through, and mow people down on the football field, whether they have to place bombs around the school to go off. Doesn't take much to go on an internet to learn how to make a bomb that you could detonate right from your cell phone while in class. That's right. That's right, folks. It's not about the guns. It's got nothing to do with the guns. It's got everything to do with the person. So why do we have school shootings today versus when I was going to school, we didn't have school shootings? Want to know what the difference is, folks? I'll tell you. And we had guns back in my day, too, by the way. That's right. Back in my day in the 70s, I graduated in 75 in high school. We had guns back then. They've been around since the Civil War and then there before. They've been around for a long time. Very simple, folks. What the school department has done in schools throughout our country is they put students in a pressure cooker, and they don't have a release valve anywhere on that pressure cooker. Well, what do you mean, Steve? Very simple. In my day, when we had a problem with a student or a punk or whatever, there was always a fight that broke out in the schoolyard. Many, many times after that fight, the people who hated each other ended up liking each other. Sometimes not. But in either case, they were allowed to duke it out. Matter of fact, even some of the gym coaches and gym teachers would say, really got something wrong with this guy, come to the gym. Gave each one of us boxing gloves and decided to settle it right there. He didn't let anybody get bludgeoned to death, but he said, all right, let's go. Get it out of your system right now. If you don't allow students to let it out, then you know what you got? A pressure cooker without a release valve. It's going to blow. And it's going to blow one way or another. Somebody's going to get hurt. We had in place a thing when we had, back when I was in Hope High, we had a thing in place called Project Hope. Project Hope was where we would mentor with our students. I was part of that for a short time. We would mentor with our students who were having trouble integrating or maybe having trouble. We were to report, obviously, to adults, our findings. But at least there was an interaction with the students. They weren't ignored. They weren't pushed to another school. They weren't expelled. We had what we call an opportunity for somebody, a vehicle for somebody to let it out. Today we're so concerned about what gender you are, how you are to partake in your new self without parental advice about the child having sexual issues or gender identity issues without getting the parents involved. You have the teachers controlling, the administration controlling the mindset of students. I'm a firm believer when you're an adult, whatever you want to do, you could go ahead and make that decision. Whoever you want to love, how you want to be, how you want to pretend to be, whatever you want to do, you do that as an adult. We don't need you in a school setting or a school setting to be a hospital, so to speak. It's not a psychology hospital. It's a school. You don't have the resources to handle issues that require psychological intervention. But what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is a Department of Education going completely awry, muzzling students, muzzling everybody, moving students around that may offend somebody in the girls' room, moving him to another school so he could offend in the girls' room again. Sounds like the Catholic Church, which I belong to. Found one priest, playing around with the altar service. Well, let's move him to another church so he could reoffend again. So I never want to hear out of the mouth of Democrats the priests who have molested young altar service. I never want to hear about that because you played the same game. You're playing the same game. You're moving people around the chessboard instead of addressing issues that need to be addressed. So why do we have school shootings in there? That's just the surface, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the surface of the problem. You're muzzling children. There have been bullies all our lives, folks. All our lives we've had bullies. And then many a times the bullies got beat up in the schoolyard. Oh, yes, they did. I had a bully after me, and I had to deal with it. And then I had to deal with his little henchmen, too, privately. And I did. I was a one-man army. But when the administration doesn't listen, and things are ignored, and people are getting hurt, then that's what you get. You get somebody that's going to lash out. And why not? Do it with a gun. If it's not a gun, it's a bomb. If it's not a bomb, it's a car. If it's not a car, it's a knife. I'm telling you, folks, if there's a way to kill people, people are going to find a way to do it. Doesn't have to be a gun. And that's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Democrat mindset that have literally destroyed the fabric of this country and is continuing to do so. Continuing to do so. You have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to take this back. You have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to start to correct this problem. You got a couple of months left. We either fix it or we're done. If you're voting yourself into socialism, communism, you can't vote your way out of it. Look what they're doing now. They're cheating. They're threatening. They're fighting. They're getting angry and violent. The only way you're going to get out of socialism, the only way you're going to get out of communism is a downright freaking bloody civil war. And I mean a bloody one. It's the only way you're going to get out of it. Because if America goes communism, there's no place to run. And I won't live on my knees other than to my God. My God is the only one who I will ever kneel to. But when it comes to these Democrats, I will never live on my knees for them ever, ever, never, and nor should you. You better prepare yourself to bring as many family members as you can to that voting booth if they allow us to vote. Folks, don't doubt me on these things. I'm telling you right now. The worst thing you could do is look the other way and think I'm crazy. Worst thing you can do. When you have a Pentagon person who works in the Pentagon saying exactly what I'm saying before I even met him, before I even talked to him, I was saying this. And he comes right out of the clear and says exactly what I'm saying. The government fears us owning weapons because they know they can't do what they want to do without a pushback. The Second Amendment was there so we won't have a tyrannical government, folks. It wasn't to go hunt deer. Had nothing to do with hunting deer. Had nothing to do with that at all. The Second Amendment was put into place to protect yourself from a tyrannical government. That's a fact. That's not my words. Those are written words. Democrat Party looks for every opportunity to take that away from you. When you got a defunded police department and people are getting killed, how are you going to protect yourself? They took over an apartment building and nothing was done about it until it was way too late. Crime tape is around the building. When you got people defunding a police department, they have no business asking anyone to take away your guns. None, zero. Because they know they're the bully in the schoolyard, and they know one day America's pushing back. And they don't want that pushback, folks, because power is power. Don't you ever forget that. Ladies and gentlemen, artistrybysteve.com. Thank you, GoDaddy, for all you do. I really appreciate it. Thank you, GoDaddy. Artistrybysteve.com. Also, Upside. Download the app. Use my promo code 6MMJUU. 6MMJUU. I make $100 a month on this. Pumping gas, going out to eat, shopping, whatever. You could put that money eventually whenever you want to. I'll let it accumulate to $50 twice a month. And I can put that and move that into my debit account or my PayPal account or gift cards or Amazon or the like and never receive a fee for doing so. Share it with your friends. Folks, share this rant with your friends. I don't push violence. I push voting. I push freedom. I push saving America and the right to pray to your God. That's what I push. And you should too. And we have a right to defend ourselves. Give me likes, give me shares, and give me stars. Thank you much. Love you all. We'll continue this another day.